Stop focusing on what they're doing and what they're doing wrong and why they're doing it wrong and what they need to be doing. Take it back to you. In my head. Hey everybody, how are you? Hope you're doing well. If you're new here, please hit subscribe. I do mental health videos Monday through Friday, so if you want to keep your mental health in tip-top shape, making sure that you are thinking correctly and behaving correctly and just generally adapting to life, then hit subscribe and you'll get access to my videos here. Tonight we're going to talk about how to leave an abusive relationship, which is a little tricky, but there's a lot to talk about, so let's get to it. So before I get into how to leave an abusive relationship, I have been working on these worksheets that are free over on my Patreon page, how to set boundaries, which are very helpful when it comes to abusive relationships, and just having good relationships in general, and also some stuff about self-worth and self-esteem. And I'm also currently working on some stuff about stress management. So all of that stuff is relevant when we're talking about abusive relationships, and it may not solve your problems, but it's just some stuff to maybe start considering. So it's free, it's over on my Patreon page. Check it out. I'll put the link thing up here, and it'll also be down in the description, and I'll remind you at the end of the video. So when it comes to an abusive relationship, we have to first be a little bit clear on what's going on here. Everybody's situation is going to be different. I can't give you like one specific thing that you should do. If you are in a dangerous situation, if you feel like your life could be in danger, if you have children whose lives are in danger, if you think that this person that you're in this relationship with is very hostile, physically hostile, you maybe financially kind of like holding you hostage or something, I guess is the right word, then you need probably a lot more help than I can provide, and you'll probably want to get authorities involved. Alright, there's a lot of noise around here and there's a cop nearby, so we'll have to see how this goes. But if you're in a dangerous situation, you'll want a cop. You may need to call authorities, and I know that's going to vary depending on where you live, how much you can trust the authorities, unfortunately. It's just the state of the world today, but you need people on your side. You may need to get in touch with a domestic violence shelter, and if it is a dangerous situation, call a crisis text line. I have crisis text lines and crisis phone lines and everything listed down in the description of my videos. You need an outside resource that can protect you, that is familiar with this kind of situation. I'm not that person. Chances are your friend is not that person. Like, you need somebody who knows what to do, and you may want to consider how you get in touch with that person. You may need to do it on a phone that's not your own phone if the abusive person is monitoring your phone, for example. And this is kind of like an extreme example. Not everybody's going to have this kind of a situation, but I just want to let somebody out there know who's listening who may be in that kind of situation. There is help available for you, but you need to be strategic about how you do it, because you do not want to put yourself or your children or anybody else in harm's way. Now, if we take that kind of situation off the table and we just talk about, like, I hate to say an average abusive relationship, but if, a regular abusive relationship, maybe emotionally abusive, maybe not so much physically abusive, then we want to question, like, is this a relationship that we need to leave in the first place? Now, obviously, if it's physically abusive, it's probably a good idea to leave it, unless this has been something that's happened like once or twice and you're going to try to cut it off right here, right now. Set that boundary and let it be known that you're going to leave if this continues, and then get into therapy or something. But if it's just emotional abuse, and I hate to say just emotional abuse because emotional abuse can be really horrible, but you can do something about that depending on the situation. Some people, once it's brought to their attention that's not okay, once you get into therapy and you have an outside source to kind of validate like that, no, this is not okay what's going on, then sometimes people will begin to change their behaviors and you can work together and change the relationship. That's not always going to be the case. I don't want to give you some kind of false hope that that's going to change your relationship, but it's worth considering. Some people will say they're going to change, as was the case in one of my recent relationships, and then they don't change, and then you're stuck like, what the hell's going on? So be aware that that's also a possibility. They may make promises, they may start to change, act like they're changing, and they may kind of like flip-flop and continue to be abusive. So you need to be aware of that, and it may help actually to keep a journal of what's going on. I have a video on how to keep an emotional abuse journal. Okay, so what do you do if it's obviously not working? You're not going to try to make it work, you just want out. Well, depending on if you want a divorce, that's something you'll have to look into with a lawyer. I can't give you advice on that. And I just want to say, like, you know your situation best. You have the most intimate experience of this person and what your relationship with them is like. So trust yourself, trust your gut on what you think could happen. Now, I understand if they're emotionally abusing you, gaslighting you, you may have started to not trust yourself, but you do know how this person typically reacts in situations. And if they are unpredictable, then you also know that. So the main thing that you want to do is, if it's safe to do so, set boundaries. Set boundaries, let them know you're not tolerating things anymore, and set consequences to those boundaries. Start taking back your power and your autonomy and your own individuality. Do things for yourself. Seek outside resources, of course. Like, nourish the good, positive, healthy relationships you have with your friends. Maybe get some friends involved, let them know what's going on. Maybe seek out new friends who don't even know the situation that you can vent to. Of course, there's online support groups, there's like the crisis text line if it gets to that kind of a point. There's different resources out there for you. You just have to look for them. We have the internet, we have Google, search for them, you will find them. Maybe even get a personal therapist as opposed to a couples therapist, so you can just have somebody to talk to about things for yourself. But really get the power back in your hands. Take back your individuality. You deserve it. You've been going through this for long enough, and if this person's abusive, they don't deserve your time and your effort and your love and your caring and all this other stuff. Don't give them that attention. Stop focusing on what they're doing and what they're doing wrong and why they're doing it wrong and what they need to be doing. Take it back to you. What could you be doing right now, today? What could you be doing to get away from this relationship? Could you be withdrawing money out of a bank account, a joint bank account, and taking it into your own hands? Could you be calling your parents and asking them how they can aid you? Could you be calling up a friend and saying, hey, I just need to take a day and spend a day with you with the kids? Could you start making a backup plan with a therapist of, like, what do you need to do to get out of here? Do you need to move? Are you living with this person? Do you need to make arrangements for that? You can do this. You may not feel like you can do this, but you can do this. If you don't feel like you can do this, look back in your life to other difficult times that you've had and start making a list of all the positive times when you got through hard things. What was it that you did? How did you draw the strength back then? How could you draw that strength out again today? This other person, if they've been abusive, they probably teared you down, so you need to start building yourself back up. Start remembering all the positive things that you've done. Ask friends, what are some good things about me? Where do you see my strength? Even if you don't believe them, write it down and start reading that list over and over again, day after day, as a reminder of the positive qualities that you have inside of you. I mean, ultimately what this comes down to, if you want to leave an abusive relationship, you have to leave. You have to take steps to distance yourself from that person. You can't keep going back to them. They can't be your source of security, because they're not. They can't be your source of income. They can't be your source of anything if they're abusive. You need to get away from them. So what's really important to understand here is that the more time you're focusing on them and what they're doing and why they're doing it and how things used to be with them and what they used to say and what they're saying now and all this other stuff that's focused on them, you're not focusing on you. And you're never going to leave this relationship if you're focused on them. You have to focus more on you and start taking steps to walk backwards away from them. I know that's hard. I know there are emotions involved, but nothing is easy when it comes to abusive relationships. This is just what it is. I know you didn't ask for it, but you have resources. You have strength inside of you. I know you maybe don't see that you have strength inside of you, but I promise you it's there, and you can get through this. You just got to focus on getting through it. So as I mentioned, if you have difficulty with self-esteem, with boundaries, with relationships in general, I have worksheets up on Patreon for free you can check out. And if you have extra difficulty with these, you can contribute a little bit over there and get access to even more for those special situations that you just need extra help. If you're new here, I do mental health videos Monday through Friday. Hit subscribe and then hit the bell after you hit subscribe to get notified each time that I do a video. And now I'd love to hear from you. I know there are a lot of people in my community who have been through abusive relationships, who are maybe still kind of going through getting out of those relationships. Maybe there's still some mental stuff going on here. You know, this is mental health we're talking about. So what are some tips that you have for the next person who's trying to get through this? What advice could you give to them? Would you say the same thing that I'm saying, that they should just focus on themselves and focus on taking steps away? what helped you? Leave that down below for our community, and thank you as always for being here with me, everyone. I'll see you next time.